Hey, welcome to a Reel with Pastor Dixie and Friends, and I've got Dr. Margo Bush in here with us today, or she has me. There's a way I should have said that.
Yeah, that's right.
So she's in the production chair.
How are
I'm
ya?
not. I'm doing good. And today we're going to be talking about destiny. And a lot of people, this is a controversial topic, Margo, because a lot of people don't think that that destiny is a part of it. They're just convinced that free will is everything, and there is no predestiny. There's no already determined outcome, and it gets very complicated when you try to explain that with our finite human mind. But whenever I look at Scripture, it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and he knows the end of the story. And so therefore, outside of ourselves, there is a known outcome for all of us. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't affect our daily lives.
We can. I mean, we see there that Moses did. I mean, he was supposed to go into the promised land.
That's right.
And he didn't. And so we have something to do with our destiny and the purpose that God has for us. So
absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't be love if it wasn't free will.
That's exactly right.
It wouldn't be
we
love.
would just be, maybe like the angels.
Like the angels. Like robots in some ways.
Like robots.
And
God wanted a relationship with us so that we had a free will to choose. And but Jeremiah also says that he knew us in our mother's womb.
Right.
He knew us, and he had a plan for us, and he had a purpose and a destiny for all of us to fulfill. And here's the one thing that I do know is that people are always searching for what is my purpose here on this earth.
Absolutely. That's one of I'd say that's one of the continuing themes in my youth services, because when you're 12, 13, 14, 15, especially when you get to be 15, 16, 17, you're really looking for, what am I supposed to be? What am I supposed what's my career going to be? What is God positioned me for? What gifts and talents do I have?
Right.
How do I make sure that I'm in God's will? These are all questions from teenagers that fire at me constantly.
Because I believe that it's already born on the inside of us, because God's placed it there. He's given us callings and giftings that nobody else has.
Absolutely.
And we have our own. There's a book out. I cannot remember the name of it, but it talks about our fingerprint and how nobody else has the fingerprint like we have. That's
not even twins.
That's exactly right. Not even twins.
Yep.
And so it really shows you that God had us in mind, each individually. He loved us from the beginning of time, and he has a plan and a purpose for us.
He absolutely does. And sometimes we get ahead of that because we want to know.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Yeah.
We want to know the outcome.
Yeah.
And we're focused on the end result instead of the journey. And that trips us up.
I'm really bad about that. I just want to know the end.
Yeah.
And I just keep my eyes on the end, and you forget that there's a journey to enjoy in the middle. And I love it what Psalms 5 says, because how do you know how to your destiny? How do you know your purpose? How do you find it? Some people would maybe ask that. And I love Psalms 5, verse 3. It says, and this is in the Passion Bible, it says, at each and every sunrise, you will hear my voice, Lord, as I prepare my sacrifice of prayer to you. Every morning I lay out the pieces of my life on the altar of God, and I wait for your fire to fall upon my heart. And, I really take time to just meditate on that scripture and to make sure that I do it.
Yeah, I started to say, if we could only actually do that, our day would probably be a lot more peaceful. for sure.
It definitely would. And when I do it, my day is ordered of the Lord. You know, the
Right.
Bible says the steps of a good man and woman are ordered of the Lord.
Ordered. Yeah, that's right. And we just need the right knowledge and understanding in order to hit the next step. Talked about this just a minute ago on the Daily Dose, but if we can just think about this. If the steps of your life are going to be, they're going to go off into, almost infinity. They're going to disappear. Those steps of your life are going to be so long. And there's going to be curves, and there's going to be,
Right.
Tunnels. There's going to be all kinds of things that those steps are going to take you through. And it'd be impossible to see the end. It'd be impossible, especially when you're young. It's absolutely impossible to see the end. But it should not be impossible or even difficult to see the next step.
That's right.
Okay? So if we just focus on the next step and we do that again and again and again, we're going to end up where we're supposed to be.
And just think about if we would pray this prayer over our next step, that, Lord, I lay out the pieces of my life on the altar of God for this next step that you have for me.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Wouldn't it be a better journey?
It's a trust.
It really
It's a trust.
Yeah.
It's an issue of trust. Because to think about it, if you're planning your career or you're debating on whether or not to take a promotion or to take a different path, along your career or whatever, it's human nature to want to know the outcome. Is this gonna be a good
Right.
decision or a bad
Right.
decision? But it's more so for people who have no trust in the Lord.
Oh, I
If
know.
you have the trust in the Lord and you pray the prayer, God, just let me hit the next right step. There's 3 steps in front of me. There's one to the left, there's one to the right, and there's one right in front of me. And we usually don't want to take one behind us. So we're looking at 3 options usually. And if we just have the trust in the Lord that the next step that he guides us to is the correct one, then we don't have to worry about step 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's going to take us where it's going to take us. And,
Right.
and that's going to be where he wants us to be. One of the things that I did a few years ago at youth camp is came up with a sermon. God gave me this sermon called Butterflies and Bamboo. And
Okay, yeah. Now, you had said that earlier, and
Yeah.
I thought, what is that have to do with destiny?
it caught everybody off guard, even me, as God was placing it into my heart. And honestly, I don't remember if I had read it somewhere or if it was just all inspired. I can't remember, but the impact was huge because, and I may not get the time frames exactly right, but there's a type of bamboo that when you plant the bamboo seed, it stays underground for years.
Really?
So you plant the bamboo seed and you see no result of growth for years, like 3, 4, maybe as many as 5 years.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, it begins to shoot out of the ground. And it doesn't just shoot out of the ground a little bit. It shoots out the ground at a rate that starts out at 3 inches a day, 6 inches a day, a foot a day, and then it gets to the point to where it's growing multiple feet per day. And this particular type of bamboo exceeds treetop level. It can grow 60, 70 feet tall. And the reason that it can grow 60, 70 feet tall is because for the years that you saw nothing happening, it was
wow.
developing a root system.
Wow.
The root
What an
system was
example.
going wide and it was going deep because it had to be there to support the weight of a 60-foot bamboo shoot.
Wow.
If the root system had not taken its time to build itself and to be
Yeah.
embedded into the earth like that, as soon as it got to be 15, 20 feet tall, it'd just fall over. So it
Yeah.
had to be
Yeah.
there. And that's what's going on with us. When we get so concerned about what's my destiny, what's my career, how come nothing's happening? I feel like I'm stagnated. It's been a long time since I've got a promotion or had a change. Well, maybe your root system is going deep and wide. Maybe he's preparing you for the growth that's coming. And if he doesn't do that and you experience that rapid growth, you're going to fall over.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to see us fail.
Maybe your growth is larger than you even anticipate.
Exactly.
So that, wow, what a great man! I'm gonna coach that in my entrepreneur classes like nobody's business.
Well, it makes an impression on especially young people, because they're looking around and they're seeing, well, this person's already graduated and that one's already got his driver's license.
Yeah.
And this one over here has a job, and here I am 15. I'm not old enough to work. I'm not old enough to drive. God's developing your root system.
Right.
Just be patient. Right. Know that he has a destiny for you, and just pray that you're hitting the next step, because as that root system develops, it's going to be able to support rapid growth, accelerated growth, and accelerated heights that you're going to reach. The longer and the more complex and supportive that root system becomes.
So what I hear you saying is how important it is for you to do in private, so that God can show you up publicly and you'll really have something.
That's right.
Yep. And I think, I heard a story about the Sears building, and how that when they built the Sears building, that it's as much deep as it is tall.
Right.
And because it would just fall over. And so that's the same thing with our life, and the plan of God for our life, and our purpose, and the destiny that God has for us. And he knows what he has for us to fulfill. And so
if we trust him.
We
can affect that destiny.
Yeah, we can.
I truly believe we can affect that destiny with our own free will. We can get ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we can.
And we can say, well, you know what? This is taking too long. I'm going to go this way.
Oh, well.
Look at Abraham.
Yeah, look at Abraham. Yeah.
He affected that destiny, and that had generational impact.
Oh, my God. Yes. Oh, my goodness.
So we can do that if we grow impatient. But if we trust.
And what I like about, there's a story in Acts chapter 16 that I love about a woman. She was called the Lady of Purple. She was Lydia, the businesswoman. Mm-hmm. And the part I love about her story is that she started out from Tyre, I believe that's where it was, and she didn't realize, even at that moment, I don't believe she even realized that who she was getting ready to meet when she met Paul, because she became a believer in her journey. And then she was a very wealthy woman.
Yes.
And so she was the one that helped Paul start the Church of Philippi.
Yeah, his ministry, yeah.
And so what I love about it is that sometimes if you will just trust God, like what you were saying, just trust him, he will lead you even when you don't know. But if you'll lay out the pieces of your life on the altar of God, if you'll lay out before him, you'll pray, if you'll seek him, take time in private.
Right, yeah.
Sometimes we want a lot of public acclamation.
And you never know what motives people have when they come in and try to influence your destiny.
Right.
Okay, like as a parent, just for example, I mean, I may be trying to live vicariously through one of my kids, and I may be trying to coach them in a way that it's really not their destiny. It's just something I didn't get done in my own life. So I have to be very aware of that. And so, yes, in private, I would say first, for sure.
Yes.
Seek that confirmation in private with God, and then see if it's confirmed outside.
Yeah, right.
See if you can get that confirmation outside of that privacy one-on-one with God.
Yeah. And God will then lead you, because the Bible says the steps. And sometimes I don't even know. I mean, you're probably like this. Not every step did you know. Not every step did doors opened and I had nothing to do with it.
Absolutely.
Except maybe in private when I was praying.
Right.
But I trusted God. And I trusted him that he had my life and my purpose and my destiny and my calling in his hands.
Right.
And because of that, I could trust him. And I think there's a good thing in this whole teaching is that if we'll have faith and trust in him, we will fulfill our destiny.
Absolutely. In Psalms 27:13, it says, I remain confident of this.
Wow.
I remain confident of this.
Wow.
I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart and wait. I remain confident. I mean, that's right there it is. I mean, God knows the outcome, and there is no better outcome than the one that he wants for us. So anything that we can force or make happen is not going to be as good as the one that he has in store for us.
That's right.
That's been my experience. I mentioned that the name of this sermon that I taught at youth camp was Butterflies and Bamboo. And some of you have probably already picked up on the butterflies, but that you don't see the beauty of the butterfly when you're looking at the cocoon. You don't see it. The cocoon's not really that attractive.
Right.
But there's a lot going on inside there, just like there's a lot going on underground with the bamboo. And if you wait, if you have the discipline and the trust to wait on God, when that cocoon opens, look at the beauty that comes out. That beautiful orange monarch butterfly that no longer crawls on the ground. It flies through the air. And it's a thing of beauty. And that's the same with us if we trust God. It's really the same with us. If we believe that what he has in store for us is better than anything that we can produce on our own.
I believe that. And, I always go back to Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain. Write it out in big black block letters. That not only gives me an action step to what I can do to take action we're not just to sit around and wait for, things to happen, but we're to take action. But it also reminds me about if I write it down, and God is calling me to write it down, I believe that God is wanting us to say, okay, what is inside of you? I've already placed things inside of you.
Right.
And you're hearing them.
That's right.
And write them down.
Write them down. Make it clear.
Make it plain.
It works in business too.
Yes.
We do it in business.
Yes.
Same thing.
The business plan, I call it a master plan. I think everybody should write a master plan for their life, and it should come out of what's inside of here, and you should listen. What is in your heart? Those are the things that God is saying. I wish somebody had told me that, David, when I was in high school. Nobody shared that. Nobody said that. But there were things inside of me, even when I was in high school, but I just thought they were me.
Well, unfortunately, because of, like I said, a lot of times parents have very good intentions and grandparents have very good intentions and they want the best for their kids, but they don't always approach it from a biblical standpoint. It's like, well, you need to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer or whatever. And that's great. Those are all fantastic professions, but not if that's not what you're called to be. It's not a great profession if that's not what you're called to be. It's going to be a miserable life.
Right.
So what I tell the kids is, let's look more at your hobbies. What do you do in your spare time? What do you do for fun? What excites you? Where do you get joy? Is it baking? Is it working with animals? Is it engineering? Is it something like that, a technical trade or something like that? Let's find the thing that you do when you have your free time available, and then let's see if there's a way to turn that into an income. Man,
I wish I had somebody say it. Man, I wish I had you as a youth pastor. I can
remember when I got my first computer. I begged and begged and begged, and I finally got my first computer. My parents never saw me again. I was in my room programming constantly. I remember getting in trouble. When are you going to join the family? I enjoyed it. It was I don't know.
It was your gift.
It was a gift.
It was what God had put already inside of you.
Exactly. And then from that moment, I knew that was at least the field that I was supposed to go into. Now that was counter to what my parents wanted me to do. I was supposed to go in the oil field and take over the family business, and that caused some conflict when I didn't do that. But I knew that I just loved that so much that it had to be a part of my future. And so I just want to encourage everybody out there. If you have a dream, something, it doesn't matter. Dreams don't die. They don't.
No.
You can be given a dream when you're a kid. It'll still be a dream when you're in your 80s. You know.
Yeah.
So see if there's a way to fulfill it, because that might be part of your destiny. And I've seen God turn all kinds of odd things into income streams.
I have too.
You know, so, you know, just because it may not be mainstream, it may not be what you were told, you know, you needed to do in order to provide for your family, that doesn't mean that God can't turn that into an income for you. And then you enjoy going to work every day.
Which I believe everybody should do.
Oh, man, I hate, you know, I did some fast food in college. I did the oil field before then. I threw papers before then. I mowed lawns before then. Whenever I got into technology and computers, it was not work. It was playing for me. And so I knew that had to be my gift. That had to be what I was called to do. And it was. So I would just encourage everybody else to look for that. Don't follow somebody else's direction for your life and for your career. Follow God and follow that desire that he placed in your heart. He knew the desires of your heart before you did. So that desire that's in your heart is placed there by him. So it's not going to be for naught.
That's right.
It's going to be for a purpose.
It's his desire for you and for you to fulfill.
That's right.
Well, as we close, I am going to say it one more time, Habakkuk 2. And I'll read it in the King James as we close, because I really want everybody to do this as we start out the new year. And it says, "And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." And I believe that's because it will still be there. It will stay there.
It will.
It is what God has called you to do.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
We'll close this out, David. It's been a good, I've loved the topic. So I hope everybody has a wonderful 2025 as we enter into the new year.
Blessings to all of you. I'm Pastor David, God's Shining Light Church, Dr. Margo Bush. This has been Real with Pastor Dixie and Friends.